Let's check out some new knives that I have in. Starting it off, we have, the new Pony Stout from Devo Knives. And damn it, this thing's great. I love the I love the Stout. I have the full-size version, which I absolutely love. I should have pulled it out, but I didn't. But I do have the other Pony Stout right here, the liner lock budget version. I'm not sure. I don't think these are available right now, but it was 14C with steel liners with a wire clip. This one has S90V with titanium and great access to that lock bar. As you can see, love that access. And I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. This is one knife that from the large and the small, they are both equally as good. Like usually you have a knife that you're like, well, the big one's better than the small one, or the small one's better than the big one. Between the large version of this and this one, it almost seemed like it was originally supposed to be this size. That's how good it is. You can get a full 4-finger grip comfortably. Great pinch grips for utility cuts. It has a hollow ground, somewhat of a pooned sheep's foot. You got a nice little poon action right there. The detent is money on this, which you can expect because Lefty EDC is pretty picky about his detents, kind of like me. He likes, a nice solid detent that gives you good resistance, and this one absolutely does. You almost are surprised right off the bat, but in a good way. Nice thumb flick too. Great access to the whole deployment. Just all around a phenomenal knife. And because Lefty EDC is lefty, left-handed, he has a reversible clip, wire clip at that. And wire clips that work so good. These are the one clips that are not going to hurt your pocket. Typically any clip, no matter how good they are, the more you put them in and out of the pocket, eventually, it's going to wear a spot. With these wire clips, they are so smooth. There's never a chance of them really tearing your pocket up. You can see they got the S90V written in the back spacer in there. That's kind of cool. The steel liner lock is not screw. Oh, no. So the clip screw does screw it in, but I was going to say it's placed inset on the handle, so the back spacer and the construction of the knife is what's holding it in, because it's only a single-sided liner. This side does not have a liner. My negative, same negative I've always really had, the plunge grind, because there's a little bit of distance from the plunge grind from the edge, but once you sharpen this, it's going to sharpen all the way back to here. It's just going to, because this isn't lower than the edge, or lower than the choil. But not that big of a deal. You can sharpen up the blade on this one. This one generally won't have that big of an issue. So I hate to even really make it a negative, because when you sharpen, you're basically going to sharpen up to the plunge, and it shouldn't be too bad. So it's really not that big of a deal. T8 hardware all the way around. Love, love, love to see that. And really, I don't really have any negatives that's this is bad. Like I said, the plunge grind I would make a little bit different, but it's not bad. Anyways, awesome knife. I want to show you guys one other thing really quick. At Blade Show, Lefty gave me this little nip. Now, the nip is really cool. I do have another version in fat carbon fiber. This one, I don't think anybody has. I think I'm the only one who has one like this, because this is a hawkbill nip. Now, they have not done production of this. This is just a prototype. It is a hollow ground sheep's foot recurved hawkbill blade, which I find to be really awesome. Like the Pony Stout, you can get basically a full grip on this because of the choke up spot with the finger choil, or the choke up choil. The clip definitely gets in my hand though. This one would be pretty painful in the hand to squeeze the life out of, but this is the way I would be using it. Opening things up, basically, just drawing across boxes and packages and things like that. And in that case, this is awesome. This wouldn't be something you're going to sit there and break cardboard down with, but you could. And a hawkbill generally catches material and allows for a longer cut. Now, he was saying that they were having troubles where it was getting caught right here at the tip, which, you know, a hawkbill's kind of going to do. You could curve it a little bit more or pull the curve a little bit more towards this area back here. But I think it's fine the way it is because, like I said, this is going to be a box cutter or box opener more than anything. But yeah, the nip is such a cool knife. I like it, man. Now, let's get to the next knives. The next one is a budget knife from Migaron, the Galati. And the Galati has a spear point blade with multiple deployments. The whole deployment and the flipper tab. Now, the blade steel on this is 14C28N. We have a titanium mill pocket clip with steel liners, green micarta scales. I'm sure it comes with other materials or other color options. The choil is real nice on this because this makes for a perfect plunge grind. So, like, if you want to think of a good choil, this, no matter how small or big it is. So this is a finger choil, so it's much larger. But even if you shrunk this thing down to really small, this is how you want to do a plunge grind. Because you want the end of the plunge grind, not the beginning of it, the end of it to be far away from the edge. This gives you plenty of distance away from that to sharpen your knife. You will have a lot of life of sharpening when it's done that way. Access to the lock bar, really good. Very generous access, and it has a nice chamfer on the edge right there, so nice and comfortable. Detent is a little light. I'm gonna say, yeah, it's a light detent. I can easily snap it out. I would never fail it, you know, unintentionally, but I do kind of want it to be a little stronger. It's a little lousy for me. So, you know, that would be probably my biggest negative so far. T8 hardware all the way around. Love to see that. I love that companies are starting to listen to that. Next little nitpick is this G10 backspacer is kind of off-putting because it's not micarta. I don't know why they just do micarta. But all in all, you know, it's comfortable in the hand. It's going to be a great user. The detent might be stronger on other versions. The edge came very toothy. This is one I would strop definitely before using, but it's very aggressive, and I mean that in a good way. With a couple passes on a strop, it'd be really good. So let's get to the next one now. We have a few from Migaron. Now, this one is one I featured on the channel multiple times, and I think they improved this model so good. The original one had inlays. Now this is a bolster lock version, and it is knocked out of the friggin' park, man. This is amazing. It has amazing ergonomics. I'm not a big fan of Persian style upswept blades with big old bellies like this, but I like this one, man. I love how it looks. It has this whole deployment makes it just look aggressive. It looks angry, and I like that. It's nice and thin and slicey. This one has a hand satin blade. I do have the copper carbon fiber version already, so there is multiple different versions of this. Titanium mill pocket clip that actually works well. A big, long, jimped titanium backspacer. So, yeah, this thing's built very well. I love the lockup. Nice. You can hear it. Even if you go really slow. Detent tuned to perfection. I've yet to have handled one of these that didn't have an incredible detent. I can almost promise you that your detent is going to be good on one of these. Just from my experience with handling, I think 4 of them at this point, and they've all been just money. And it's the leverage points, you know, the flipper tab, it's placed in a good spot to where they can put a nice strong detent on there, and it makes it to where in return, the whole deployment, nice solid detent. Very smooth on the drop. Ceramic caged bearings. When it breaks in, this thing will be a fall shut action. All in all, yeah, this is one I really like. Oh yeah, and lefties. Because it's a bolster lock, you can easily use it. The clip is not reversible though. Again, TA hardware all the way around. Love to see that. Love this milling. This is very deep milling. Great access to that lock bar. I like this type of carbon fiber. I personally think it looks really cool. The only negative I have is, again, the plunge grind. I don't know if I've had a positive plunge grind for a while now. Well, the last one because of the finger choil. But anyways, you know, the plunge grind's a little close to the edge. I don't think it's that big of a deal in this case because the knife is so awesome. Now, the next one is designed by a buddy of mine I was actually just at Blade Show with, and I got to try his version, or his, briefly at the show, and that is Vu Pham. Shout out to Vu, man. Awesome guy. He's such a good dude. Like, one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. And there's certain people you meet in this community that just kind of have a, I don't want to say a vibe, but they have something about them that makes them very magnetic. That it makes you want to hang out with them, makes you want to talk to them. They're very inviting, and he has that essence about him that I think anybody would love and enjoy. So really good dude. Like, you feel when you shake his hand and talk to him, you can tell he's genuinely a really good dude. Now, this knife has a harpooned drop point blade, beautiful swedge, nice geometry. It's going to be plenty slicey. You're going to have perfect access to that tip. Plus, you're going to have plenty of edge for slicing. M390 steel. We have the diamond pattern over the titanium, which I frickin' dig. It not only looks attractive, but it has a nice tactile feeling in the hand. You can see it's got a reversible milled titanium pocket clip. T8 hardware all the way around. Yeah, should be T8 hardware all the way around. Yes, T8 hardware all the way around. Love to see that. And then it has a crossbar lock, which crossbar locks are very strong locking systems. It makes it to where you can just pull that bar down, because it's a bar behind the tang, and it makes it to where a knife can be very, very strong, yet stupid smooth. Like, this is on bearing, so this is ridiculously smooth. I mean, it's obnoxiously smooth, put it that way. But because it has a bar lock, in order to fail it, or in order for it to, you know, have a catastrophic failure, it has to break through this steel bar, and you can see how much it goes up the tang of that blade right there. So that has a lot of engagement, really solid engagement. I have no worries on, you know, spine whacking something like this. The thumb studs are placed fairly well. I like how he chamfered the edge right there for you to get down right to the stud. So the action, really good, easy to thumb flick, easy to reverse flick, and you can always do, you know, the axis flip. Ergonomics are really good. It has almost, it's not, maybe it's slightly contoured, but it has a chamfer around the edge, and it has, you know, a nice fit, you know, going from narrow to thick right here. So in your hand, I find it to be very, very comfortable. Now, I do have one, oh, I should have said this. Yeah, I did. I said the M390, didn't I? I do have one significant negative, and I hate to do this to Vu's first knife design. I think this is his first knife design. And I've already spoken to him about it. The placement for the stop pin in the closed position is in a bad spot. It's that little tiny one right there. So when you disengage it, it's hitting literally right behind the edge bevel. You can actually see right where it hits, and it is right behind the edge. Like, it's so close. So that makes this somewhat of a deal breaker, in my opinion, because you can't sharpen it. You can sharpen it once or twice. If you get lucky, you might be able to sharpen it until it gets past this point, which would be right there. If you're lucky, you know, because I don't know. I know the point of contact, you know, the bar is, you know, I don't know, a couple millimeters thick. The bar is 0.077 wide. So I don't know if it's the contact at the beginning of the bar or the end of the bar that will make a difference. But once it's gone, or once that's sharpened out, it'll hit the backspacer. So, so that makes it to where it's not going to be able to sit inside the handle without hitting the backspacer, destroying your edge. Or, you know, maybe not destroying, but, you know, making your edge go duller faster. So that is something, hopefully they can, you know, fix on the next versions or whatever. You know, just place it higher. That's all they have to do, is just make it move it up here, move it to like right there or something. That would be fine. but you generally don't want stop pins to land anywhere right here because that's where you cut in choils and, you know, sharpen and things like that. This one's just entirely way too close to the edge bevel. Now, the one other thing is the thumb studs I wish were a little grippier. They are a little rounded. I find myself slipping sometimes on them. But, you know, once you know, and you're fine. So it's not like, it's not a bad thing. It's not even really a negative. It's more of just an observation that, you know, I prefer a little bit of texturing around this edge right there. I think that would be the optimal way. Other than that, the only other thing would be the plunge grind, you know, because it starts here and it ends literally right at the edge, so they need to move that back. And then they could literally just notch this out right there and then put the stop pin back here, and that would make this thing perfect. And in that case, man, this thing is a winner. You know, because I think it's an awesome knife, you know, but hey, you know, it is what it is. I mean, these are issues that you run into when designing knives that can be very frustrating because you have to have a stop pin. It has to land somewhere, you know, so anyway, shout out to Boo. One more from Miguron that I've had on the channel many times. This is a new version with the carbon fiber, just like we were looking at this one. So I have the version with this carbon fiber already. This one is a little different. We have the diamond pattern with the copper carbon fiber inlay, and I love this knife. I've loved this knife since the first version of it, which was not a long time ago, but a couple of years ago. And I have found that this is such a good front flipper. Listen to the sound. It has a great sound to it. The front flipper has very sharp, aggressive jimping, and it goes so high all the way up and around just how it's supposed to be. So you can just touch your finger to it and you can snap it. It's such an easy front flipper to use, even with this peak right here. Now, me personally, I would round that over, but you know, it doesn't bother you. You never hit it because the way it's positioned, your finger kind of goes over the top of it anyways. So yes, this is a great front flipper. Now, it also has, while having a phenomenal front flipper, it has a great reverse flick too, or thumb flick. Equally as good. Like, this is a hole deployment that lands in the perfect spot. Great positioning or great placement. And the detent. Solid detent for the deployments. Like, very good. Very well done. The blade steel is M390 steel. We have a sheep's foot blade with a satin finish, and it is extremely ergonomic. This thing to me is just a killer knife all the way around. They do have a budget version of it, but the budget version is not a front flipper. And I heard a lot of people say, like, why didn't they just do the same version? I don't know why, but maybe they'll do that in the future. But the budget version has a regular flipper, not a front flipper. So the flipper's back here, which some people do, you know, prefer over a front flipper. Just depends on your preference. All in all, though, the only real nitpick I have on the knife is that these cutouts land directly under the clip, and I never want that. I want these cutouts on the inside, if anything. They did a decent job with the plunge grind on this one. The plunge grind, see, this is the thing, is that, like I was saying, it's not about where the plunge grind starts, it's where it ends. And this one does end fairly close to the edge, so you do have some life to sharpen off of this before it hits. But it almost goes until, yeah, about right there. So it would be really cool if you could just see the line exactly where it ends. Like, kind of like how this one is. How you can see that line. You can see directly where it ends. You see the shadow. It ends right there. I wish this one was more like this one. But all in all, what a great knife. Killer knife. Love the knife, and the Curix is a badass knife. Well, anyways, I think that's all the knives for today's video. So if you like this type of content, I'm going to put some cards on the screen for you to click on. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.